Thank you for joining me once again for another ball review. This one is for the Storm Fever pitch. I use my typical test layout again, 75 by 4 and 7/8 by 55, which puts the pin in my ring finger. The Fever pitch is a new urethane-esque release in the Thunderline, and as far as the technical stuff goes, this is a new cover formula called Power Plus Control, and they call it a urethane-like cover. Now, as you can already see, it's definitely a urethane look, but it does what it does further down the lane than typical urethane. It has a different core than the pitch black and slightly different numbers. It's actually a modified version of the high road core. It just doesn't have that inner ball, which results in a 261 RG and an 030 differential. So from a core comparison, it has both a higher RG and a higher differential than the pitch black, which means it will be slightly easier down the lane and also flare a little more, so that helps a bit in the shape department. Now I say shape, but it's still urethane. At the same time, the look through the heads is resin-like enough that I feel comfortable throwing it. I love rolling the ball and controlling the break point, but that doesn't necessarily mean I like skid flip stuff. To the contrary, I like very early and rolly stuff, but mostly because it makes it easy to control the break point. A ball that rolls heavy and that I know is going to move gives me confidence to get through it cleanly and firmly, but it also allows me to move in and slow down without getting over-under, which is the key to why I don't like urethane. It does everything it's going to do early, and my head just has issues with seeing something move at 25 to 30 feet and then fading the rest of the way into the pocket. You just can't roll urethane unless you have either a lot of speed or a lot of hand, or I can't anyway. Typical urethane wants to go for me as soon as I let it go, which gives me angle issues and also affects my hit at the pocket. Everything just happens for me way too early with urethane. The Fever pitch comes close to fixing that, though. I feel comfortable rolling it because it doesn't dig in at 10 feet. It's not flippy down the lane by any means, but it pushes the reaction far enough down the lane that it gives me much more to work with. When comparing it to balls like the pitch black and hot cell, the differences are clear and pretty staggering. I mean, you can see as soon as I lay both of these other ones down that they want to get to business, and the hot cell even more because of the massive amount of flare, but they both do what they're going to do at 20 feet and just give me angle nightmares. The Fever pitch doesn't do that. You can tell it's urethane or urethane-like anyway, and this is where it gets odd. Urethane fans like urethane specifically because it is so early and doesn't overreact on the back end. The Fever pitch feels more like a urethane ball for resin fans than a urethane ball for urethane fans. However, it's still smooth enough that I think it's going to be a veritable skid flip monster for urethane users. Resin fans are going to get a ball that could be more usable or in play more often for them than typical urethane is, and urethane fans are going to get a more resin-like shape than they usually get. I see a lot of high-rev / two-handed bowlers that use urethane specifically to control the back end, not necessarily because they actually like urethane. I know several that would like to use resin, but it's just too strong down lane or just too strong across the board. And the Fever pitch could be an answer for them. It flares enough for me that the oil lines do get separation, so unlike the pitch black that doesn't get any ring separation and does create carry down, the Fever pitch isn't going to create any more than, say, an IQ Tour. The differentials there are very similar, so just enough flare to prevent much carry down, just enough to help with traction on the back end, but not so much that it's super early. It actually gave me a nice look. My hatred, and I do mean hatred for urethane, is well known. I make no effort to hide it. But the Fever pitch will make a great spare ball at least, and I do seriously envision it being in play for team at Nationals than any other time I encounter an exceptionally flat or short lane condition. The final verdict is that if you're a resin player that's looking to give urethane a shot, this is the ball to try. It's going to be the easiest to adjust to. And if you're a urethane fan or a urethane user that wishes they could throw resin more often, this is going to give you more length and more shape than you get with typical urethane, but still with that urethane control. Thanks for watching.